Yo, welcome to another episode of the RC Lounge. Man, I got my left hand man, my wing man in here tonight, Jeff Keeton. Like I said, we're just gonna have a good conversation about Roar, silly season. Um, talk about a little about Jeff's best friend Max Mort, and we gonna just we just have a good time. Like I said, this is RC Lounge. We just laid back, enjoying each other and what we doing in this RC game. And hey, let's have a good podcast. All right, let me bring Jeff on up in here. Okay. Okay, Jeff.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Oh, good, man. How you been?
Man, I am fan freaking tastic. Life is good. I couldn't complain.
Oh, that's what's up, bro. Hey, Jeff, I know you. I know you from
Right?
seeing you at some of the races and stuff. But like I say, my RC family, man, we just a conglomerate of racers, bashers, field scalers, RC boat racers, planes, a little bit of everything in here, man. And so just introduce yourself to the people.
Well, my name is Jeff. I
Mm-hmm.
currently reside in the Potato Land, Boise, Idaho.
Okay.
Um, Came out here from Florida. Been been RCing for four decades now.
Yeah.
I started when I was super young. 47 now, I think, 46 now. So, I mean,
Okay.
I've been around a long time. I've been doing a lot of stuff. Was real big into model boat racing for many years, and
Yeah.
always always had a passion for off road, and got really big into 8 scale off road, and now I've been doing a lot of carpet racing. So kind of all over the place, but as long as I'm RCing, I'm having fun. That's all that
Cool.
matters.
Yeah, that's how it go, man. As long as we having fun doing what we like to do, man. And
Yeah,
getting
I've been fortunate to travel the world and see some great things and meet a lot of cool people and
yep.
you know piss off a lot of people. So it's all good.
That go with the territory. You know what I'm
It
saying?
does. It does. Competition.
It
It just brings everything.
brings it all out. Yeah. So Joe,
It does.
how you get started in RC? How you got started in it?
Um, it was. I mean, again, I was 10 or so, and one of my neighbors got like kind of like a some sort of like a Tamaya frog or something like that, and we were bashing with that out in the street, and then we took it over. I was big into BMX at the time, so we
Mm-hmm.
took it to the BMX track and started jumping all the jumps with it, and then I ended up getting one, and then um, we learned about the RC scene that was kind of in our local area right there, and just kind of took off from there. So
Cool. Yeah.
kind of stumbled into it a little bit, but once it, like anything, once I got hooked into it, it was all over. I
It
mean,
was all over.
it was.
I totally understand that, man. So Jeff, um, you had your own podcast at one time. The Loop is Live, right?
Yeah, me and Bobby Moore did that for many years, and
Yeah.
it was a good time. It was related to a lot of the TMZ of RC, right? Like
Yeah.
that was our thing. We were into, not so much, we were into the backstories and the gossip, and you know the who's pissed off at who and who hates who, and
Right.
we were more into that side of the things than we were promoting races or stuff like that. But it was more the gossip side of things. But yeah, it was a lot of fun while we did it.
That's it. I mean, we need that. We need the whole variety, man. Just so
I do. I
it
agree with
gives
that.
it.
I think
Yeah.
the industry as a whole, like, it needs all aspects. It needs it needs villains, it needs heroes, it needs people to be mad at, it needs people to be reasonable with, it needs, RC needs a lot of that. And, it's going into a lot of the politically correct kind of way right now,
Yeah.
and the whole, this no drama thing that's going on, which I disagree with. I think drama brings excitement, and drama makes for interesting weekends. Like
Right.
if every weekend had no drama, it'd be boring.
Be
Let's
boring.
be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, we need that. We need to be able to show, our personalities. But
That's right.
and like I said, that's what draws the crowd, you know what I'm saying, to the extent.
Right.
It's all about being respectful, you know what I'm saying, and all us, you know, are grown men and women here in the RC game. So it's about
Right.
respect, but we need that. We need, just like football got his rivalries, you know, just like basketball, they had their rivalries and beefs in
That's
the
right.
athletic game. So um
And like anything, we can all take things too far too. Like I certainly there was a couple times with the podcast with Bobby and I that we took things a little too far. Like we pushed the edge, and we crossed that line a couple times. And you know s- you learn from some of those mistakes, and you apologize, and sometimes people forgive you, sometimes they don't. But
uh,
it is what it is. You got to you learn. But when you have a podcast like that, it's all about clicks, and it's all about pushing the line and how far you can go before you go too far. And for
yeah.
the most part, we walked the line pretty well, but there was a few times where we kind of crossed that line a little too far. but but it's fun while it lasted.
Yes, sir. So, well, what made y'all stop doing it? What?
So Bobby he was more, he was getting really big into race time at the time.
Yeah,
And when it got to the point where Bobby's affiliation with race time, and it was Bobby's podcast, like it was his show. I was just the mouthpiece.
right.
But when it got to the point where it was affecting, because people would get mad or something at something we said on the podcast. So then what do they do to retaliate? They can't come to us because we don't give a shit. Like, I don't care if you like me or not.
Right.
It's not I'm not losing sleep over it. But the next thing is, like, people would go to like my sponsors at the time, and they would try and get you booted off teams or try and do whatever they wanted to do. Well, in Bobby's case, he was so tight with race time that people started going to Dave like him and boycotting race
Yeah.
time races
Wow. Yeah.
because of things that were said on the podcast. So once that happens and it starts affecting Dave's pocketbook,
Mm-hmm.
then Dave has to give an ultimatum to Bobby and say, "Hey, I have no problems with you doing the podcast, but you're affecting my races. So if you're going to continue doing the podcast, I'm gonna have
Oh
to
yeah.
find somebody else to build my tracks."
Yeah.
And of course, Bobby ain't gonna put up with that. So that was kind of that's kind of what drove the podcast to go away, was that side of things.
I got you. I got you. So yeah. So after that, man, you did your show, and y'all, kind of cut back a little bit on it, but then you got called up to the No Name RC podcast.
Yeah, there's for a couple times I'd make some appearances there and
I know.
do some RC rants with those guys. And it's fun. Me, JQ, and I used, back that was in the good old days. See, right
Right.
now Keenan went very, it's kind of like you see this a lot in our industry, right? So it happened with Neo Buggy too. I don't know if people are familiar with the old Neo Buggy site,
Yeah.
where he was very much in the TMZ side of things too, where
So
he would post the truth. Like if a pro driver did something stupid, he would post it, right?
mm-hmm.
Well, once you start getting sponsors, then the sponsors start dictating your content. And once that happens, things change. And that's kind of where Keenan is too. Like, his sponsors dictate his content. So Keenan went from me, JQ would run our mouths and bash people and talk
Yeah.
shit. And and do whatever. But now sponsors get involved, and now the sponsors say, no, you can't really talk about my driver, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. And Keenan has to start censoring things. And I get it, like that's his livelihood, so he's gotta protect it.
You got so that's why he kicked you
But
off the
it
show because it.
oh, I don't know if he kicked me off or if it just became unfun. Like if I'm not a censorship kind of guy. Like censoring me is it's hard to
Yeah,
do, right?
yeah, man. I
But
mean,
but at the same time, I also kind of took a little break. So like I kind of that was in my transition from moving from Florida to Idaho.
yeah,
And so there was a little bit of a break there where I took a year off and had a transition and do all that stuff.
yeah.
And I'm kind of laying low. Like the last couple of years, I've just been racing. Like I went back to my roots. I
Uh-huh.
got out of the gossip, got out of the shit.
Yeah.
I just race. I just go race. That's all I do now.
Lay low. I got you. I mean, that's cool,
You know.
but you we gonna Keenan, I know Keenan gonna hear this. And
Well,
I
it's
ain't
like anything.
he
Like
ain't
I'm an
have
opinion guy.
right.
I'm in the business of opinions. I don't. A lot of one thing that differs me from a lot of people is I don't pretend to know anything or know everything, but I have opinions and I'm going
Right.
to give my opinion, right, wrong, or indifferent. Like that's my opinion. That's just what I personally believe. That doesn't mean that's what my sponsors believe or that's what people around me. And most people disagree with me, which is great. I love it when people disagree with me because it just it adds conversation. Like that's what it's
Conversation.
all about, right?
Right. That's right.
So
That's right.
I if everybody agreed with me, then I'm doing something wrong. Like I shouldn't be because I
But
can't be
yeah.
that smart.
But yeah, man. Like I said, we gonna talk to Keenan, man. We gonna since his sponsors them, got the choke hold on him a little bit.
Oh yeah,
At
I like Keenan. Although I pissed Keenan off, I know I did. I pissed Keenan off pretty good because of some comments I made about his worlds when they were doing the worlds telecast and stuff, and
yeah,
I made some RCGP comments that I know really pissed Keenan off. And ever since then, me and Keenan kind of like Keenan. We've always been boys. Like I love Keenan. I would jump off a cliff for that guy, but I kind of pissed him off over some of those comments that I made,
yeah,
and I don't think he's forgiven me for those yet. So
yeah. He all right, man. He all right. Did Keenan, since y'all was tight, man? Keenan did he do a one-on-one interview with you? Since
we've done a few, but not since not
okay,
since the world. No,
right.
not in a long
I
time.
got you. I got yeah,
He
because I was
keeps talking about bringing me back on, but he's scared too.
oh my god. All the trash he be talking.
Well,
Now
he knows I'll make Max look stupid. And Max is that's his co-host, man. I can't make his co-host look stupid, so
we gonna talk about Max in a few minutes. Yeah, Max, my partner, man. Max supposed to come on here. I think I may do an interview with Max. I think we got a plan for after the holidays and stuff. So he gonna have a time to rebuttal.
I
You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I
So
like I like Max and we have one of these. We love to hate on each other, but truly,
yeah,
I mean, we have no issues with each other at
yeah,
all. It's just he's the fastest driver in Finland, and you can take what you want from that.
yeah. I told him he need to
You know,
come on over here and race. He said he might come for DNC. For y'all
he
don't know,
he'll get his he'll get his ass handed to him if he does. He won't come.
we talking about Max Mort, JQ's
Yeah,
little protege
his
that be on
mouthpiece.
that be on the No Name RC podcast with Keenan and yeah, him and Jeff, they go back and forth all the time. So but yeah, tonight, y'all, we just gonna these are our opinions. Ain't none of this definitely etched in stone or true to right yet. We gonna see how all this stuff play out. But we just gonna get some opinions on what's going on in the industry on Roar. We're gonna talk about some sponsorship stuff. We're gonna talk about some silly season stuff. So, like I said, this show is an uncut show. Just be yourself, but respectful, and and we're just gonna just keep it real, have a good conversation, and go from there, So yeah, Jill. Okay. Um. So just going into Roar, Roar, they just elected a new president from, the old president was Chuck Kleinhagen,
Right.
and he was kind of with that old guard that just really just maintained Roar, did nothing too extravagant. So now we got a new president. His name is Clayton Young, and he was the Roar competition director before he quit. Now he ran for president and won this past week for Roar president. So what all have you heard about him, and have you heard some of his interviews? I know he did one interview on the No Name, and then he did another interview on another podcast called Ran Out of Talent podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't know Clayton. I don't know him personally. I mean, I know who he is, and I know he's bigger, more so on the on-road side of things than he is on the off-road side. But I've never met him. I don't know him. I mean,
yeah,
I've listened to his conversations on the podcast. I've read some posts that he's put out there and comments that he's made, and so I mean, I understand kind of
yeah,
his agenda and like what his goal is, I guess, which is to make improve Roar, right? Like
right,
Roar. So first off, just to clear, I am probably one of the biggest supporters of Roar.
okay,
So I believe in the organization. I believe in what it stands for. My favorite races are the Roar races, the Roar Nationals.
uh-huh,
Um, and again, not even so much for the prestige of the race or it's about what Roar brings to the table. I mean, it
right,
is the most important race outside of the Worlds that we have every single year, which brings the drama. I mean,
right,
it's the one race that tech is probably the bigger talking point than the racing itself.
exactly. Every
And I
year.
love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go to a Roar race where the talking point was, man, that was an awesome race put on by these two drivers, or that was a great event, or it's all about tech. And because people struggle with tech, like Roar and to be honest, Roar struggles with tech. Like
Right.
it's a two-way street. It's not just a racer thing. It's both sides. So
So yeah.
I believe in it. I
Yeah.
love the organization. I've been involved in the organization over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I understand what it's for, but I think I think right now in today's world, I think the direction in which everybody perceives Roar should be or what it is, I just think there's a big disconnect there on what Roar what's the purpose of Roar. So like if I asked you, I said what's the purpose of Roar? What do you think is the fundamental, why do we even have this organization? What's the point in it? What
I
would
would
you
think
respond to that?
I would say really to really promote RC racing or RC racing in general. Really to just get it out there for the masses to see, to work with different um manufacturers, work with different any different entities that could be a benefit to RC racing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um,
So I agree with that.
yeah.
I think the purpose of Roar and
Mm-hmm.
the fundamental, if you go all the way back to the 80s, the purpose of Roar is to give RC racing guidelines. It is to promote tracks and
Yeah.
races and promote organized racing, not to put on races, not to promote its own races. Its fundamental guideline is to make rules and guidelines,
Right.
get other tracks to follow their rules and guidelines, promote other tracks, promote the amateur racing scene,
Mm-hmm.
and promote the hobby in general.
Okay. Okay.
Now, over the years, they've done a piss poor job of all of that.
All that. You right.
I mean, you know, we're still going off of guidelines from the late 80s, 90s. Aside from the brushless stuff, once the brushless came in, that was the first real big update of a rule book or
Right.
anything like that. So, I mean, they've done a really lousy job in keeping their fundamental things. And I think kind of bringing it into current with Clayton taking over as president, he
Yeah.
has a great attitude. Like he is all about change and he's all about promoting and his ideas on promotions of Roar and
Right.
promotions of the hobby in general. Like I'm all for that.
Right. Because he talked about he was saying that he's really a type of guy that's want to get stuff done, stuff saying
Right.
implemented, get stuff established, and get just like for instance with the situation with the fuel tanks and the and the and and the truggy bruggy bodies and stuff like this. He just want to
Right.
get stuff just to get stuff, the rules and stuff, point blank plain, so everybody know what
Yeah.
to expect. You know what I'm saying? So he type that, yeah,
Cleaning up the rule book
right,
and getting out old shit and
right,
making it more current and
correct,
more relative to today's racing.
right,
And I 100% agree with all that. That should have been done years ago.
years ago.
What what I what scares me about Clayton is he's a no bullshit guy. Like he thinks that, hey, this needs to change. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to change it.
Right,
And it's not that simple. Like Roar is still a club. It's an old school club,
right,
old school people. And I get where he's all about, hey, I'm going to give you a chance. If you don't do your job, I'm going to boot you, right?
yeah,
And it's not that simple. Roar has very strict guidelines and executive committees and voting power, and one guy can't just go in and dictate and do whatever he wants to do.
correct,
And it takes a village. It takes a lot of people, and it's all volunteer work. And it's frustrating. It's if anybody has ever been involved in any type of club, RC club,
uh-huh,
it is hard to maintain a well-run RC club. It is really hard because it's hard to get stuff done. Everything has to be voted on. Everything has to be agreed on. It's a majority rules. It's cliquish. There's a
right,
lot of cliquish involved in it.
mm-hmm.
And and the one thing that probably scares me about Clayton is he's already quit once because he wasn't getting his way. Because he didn't the voting power says we agree with you, Clayton. We think that these things do need to be changed,
Strange.
but we're going to do it on our terms. We're not doing it on your terms.
So
And
why?
he got frustrated and he
Right,
quit,
yeah,
right? So that situation doesn't change because he's president.
and so
So
those
now he's just running the meetings now
right,
instead of being a part of the
want the
meetings.
meeting, mm-hmm.
But the voting power is still the same. It's still a vote.
Right,
And his agendas may not pass and the things. So what happens in those situations? Is he going to quit again? Is he going to keep, is he going to grind it out and change, not be so direct and
correct,
so, you know, his military background very in your face, very upfront, hey, we're going to do this, that turns a lot of people off.
Yeah, it
So
can.
can he adapt? Can he bring people together to unite for a common cause rather than just going to dictate a common cause?
Yeah.
So those are the things that kind of worry me a little bit about him.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't know the guy. I mean, I'm just going off of what I've heard and read and listened to, and of course, I know a lot of the Roar people. I know Jeff Parker. I know a lot of those people, and so I mean, I don't know. We'll see. If he can take a step back and include people and figure out a new approach to get some of the old school guys to buy into what he's trying to do,
Yeah.
then it can be a success. But
Okay.
if he goes in guns a blazing and says, I'm going to give you 2 weeks to do this, and if you can't do it in 2 weeks, I'm going to boot you, it's going to create a mess, and it's
It's gonna
just
be
going to make things worse.
yeah, because it's gonna end up being more problems for himself. You know what I'm saying? Because he's gonna have to make
It
up the
will.
yeah, yeah. But then
You know,
again,
and it goes back to the same thing too. Like it's what is your agenda of Roar? So
right.
like my view of Roar is Roar shouldn't be in the Roar should not be in the let's put on races business. Roar has no business whatsoever putting on races, including the nationals.
Why you say that?
I
Why
think
you feel that way?
because that's not their job. Their job is to promote races and promote tracks. It's not
Hmm.
to if my money that I pay to be a member of Roar, I would rather my dollars be spent on advertisements or something promotional value to promote the hobby or promote tracks or promote businesses within the hobby
Yeah.
rather than my dollars being spent to send 6 guys or 7 guys on a vacation for a week to go to Florida to go sit around at a tech table at nationals.
Yeah.
I would rather my dollars be spent promoting and building the hobby than sending all these guys all over the country, what, 7, 8, 9 times a year
Right.
to go hang out and race for 5 days. Like it's expensive. Traveling is expensive, and when you have 5 people of the race management team, four or
Uh-huh.
5 people, going from all over the country to a common place. I mean, it's a lot of money, and those
Right.
guys don't stay in Motel Sixes. They're
Exactly.
they're not they're not eating McDonald's. They're at Outback,
Right.
and they're staying at the
Longhorn.
Marriott.
Highlight living the high life. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you
Yes,
know,
sir.
and I'm not. That's not faulting them because I would
Hmm.
be doing the same thing. I'm like, hey, you're gonna send me to California for a week. I'm staying at the Marriott. I'm gonna go to Outback. I'm gonna go to some nice restaurants.
Right.
Like I'm taking advantage.
Advantage of that situation. Yeah, man.
But
So
that $1,000, $2,000 per person, I would rather that money go somewhere else.
so do you think Roy ought to have some kind of um some kind of like benefit going back to some of these like local tracks or some kind of local anything to help the club race scene to just
Any so that's kind of where I'm at
okay.
is so the nationals, right? The nationals has to happen every year.
Yeah.
Roar's responsibility is to send one representative from Roar, whether it be the president, vice president, uh, race chairman, or competition chairman, or some one representative to the race to help oversee the nationals.
Yeah.
The track that they choose to run that nationals, to me, that is that is, I'm not you. You don't just give the nationals to anybody. You earn the nationals,
Right.
and so a well-run track that has earned the right to host the nationals, I shouldn't have to send 6 or 7 people there to go babysit them. They
Mm-hmm.
should be able to run that race flawlessly on their own, and then I just have a Roar representative there to, in case there's a question that comes up that is beyond the track's expertise when it comes to rules or something involved with Roar, right?
Right.
And therefore, let the track, because that's the biggest thing right now is no tracks bid on the nationals because nobody makes any money. Well, again, Roar is a nonprofit organization.
Right.
Roar
No.
should not be taking money to host the nationals. That money should go to the track.
Mm-hmm.
Roar can take a small piece of it because, again, they should be in charge of some of that promotion. They should be in charge of some of that. So they got to take some of that entry fee to help promote that race. I'm all for it. But the money should go to the track that's hosting the race.
Right.
All
It
of it.
should. It should. Yeah. I mean, because like I said,
Roar has no business being involved in that. It's not their job to run a race. It's their job to make sure that the rules at that race are in place.
in place, implemented, and
My job as a Roar official is I'm going to spend all year long. We're going to make these rules and we're going to promote these rules and we're going to push these rules. And then we're going to have this national level event. And you're hosting this race and you're going to follow our guidelines and our rules.
right.
That's it. That's the point of Roar.
So,
To me, and again, that's just how I view it. It's not about, that's why regionals and the regional races all died because you
uh-huh.
can't, Roar cannot compete against a Dave Lycum and Race Time Entertainment.
Right.
They're not going to compete. So if you're going to try and make me compete and you're going to say, like one of Clayton's things that I've heard him say multiple times now is that he wants to make the Roar Nationals a series. Well, the problem with that is if you have a series
Series.
now,
Mm-hmm.
that's 3 or 4 races, however long he wants to make this series. So now me as a racer who wants to go compete at the national level and compete for a Roar national title,
Right.
I have to commit my travel budget to 3 or 4 races now to go compete for the same title.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that's going to take away from somebody else's races that I love going to, that I'm already established going to.
Right.
And Roar should not make me choose. I
That's
shouldn't
true.
have to choose to do that. I should be able
Right.
to say the Roar Nationals is on my agenda, not 3 Roar National races. But that allows me to go do a race time race, and that allows me to go do a whatever race.
Right. Because
I,
those races
I
could be like a qualify to qualify to go to Roar. Like you do
yeah,
a race time race, this gonna qualify you. You know, you in the top 10 at this race, this will qualify you to the top 15 at the Roar race or something like that or something.
you know, again, so this whole qualifying thing too, that drives me nuts. That just drives me insane. Again, it kills the nationals
Mm-hmm.
because people. That's why the regionals. So it used to be back in the early '90s, late even all the way up into the late '90s, mid '90s.
Right.
You used to have to qualify to go to the nationals. And to qualify to go to the nationals, you had to go to a Roar regional race. So your
Okay.
region would have a
Right.
race. You'd go there. They would take the top 30 from your region. They qualify to go to the nationals, and you get all the best regional drivers to attend one race, and then that's your nationals. And that was great when that happened. When there wasn't so many races to choose from. So
Okay.
again, that's going back in the 80s and 90s when you didn't have a 300 or 400 entry count race every single weekend within a 200-mile radius of you, right?
Right. And that's when Roar. That's a good example how times change. And that's where Roar
That's
should
right.
step in and redo the format since we got these bigger races and see how we can, make
Yeah,
qualifying for the nationals, easier.
quali. So the
Mhm.
problem. So here's the reason why all that died though, because the qualifying to go to a nationals, it killed the nationals.
Okay.
Because the people, if you had, say it's a 300 entry count race, right?
Right.
And you had 30 qualifying individuals from each region, and there's 10 or 12 regions, whatever it is. Well, out of that 30, there's only going to be 10 that actually travel.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably 10 that would actually be willing to go to the Roar Nationals. So the entry count at the Roar Nationals got super low.
Okay.
And it was because you had to qualify. And if you didn't qualify, then you had to submit a resume and go through a bunch more hoops. And people, we're lazy. We're not going to go through all that. It's not that important to us. I want to be able to sign up and show up and race. I
Okay.
don't want to have to do all these extra steps. And I shouldn't have to do all these extra steps. Here's the entry. This is what time the entry's open. If you make it, great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, now what I do agree with is taking last year's top 30, say,
Yeah.
and they automatically qualify. So like if it's a 300 entry count race, those guys automatically get it no matter what,
Okay. I see that.
you know.
I see that.
So
But wouldn't
that's
it?
the benefit of doing good. But
But wouldn't the process of you having to qualify, wouldn't that like kind of weed
well, I
out
think it would be
all
cool.
the
I
all the when that
all
weed out
the
some of
all
the
the
drive
sportsman guys.
pretty
The,
pretty much the people that don't make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it would allow for the racing itself at the nationals
Yeah.
to be a little better in those lower mains. So your D's and E mains, the racing level there would
Right.
be just as good as those B mains, and then your A mains, of course, is always going to be your elites,
Uh-huh.
that type of thing. But so yeah, I mean the level of competition would be better. I 100% agree on the qualifying system, but it it doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't work because people are too flaky. To be honest, it's people are not very committal anymore. That's even look at pre-registrations.
Yeah.
So back a long time ago, you used to have to pre-register to go to races.
Right.
All of that went away because nobody's willing to commit anymore. I may go to this race. I might not go to that race. I haven't decided yet. It's going to be a day of. We'll see what happens the week before. Let's
Hmm.
watch the weather. All these things factored in now because people people aren't going to just it's not
Commit.
a I'm going or I'm not going.
Right.
It's an iffy thing every single week because there's so many races to choose from.
Yeah.
If I miss this race this weekend, there's another great race next weekend I can go to.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, man, because I was just thinking about it like back in the day, like I played football and ran track and stuff. When I ran track, we have um they call it sectionals, which is kind of like a qualifier before you go to
Right.
the state, you know what I'm saying, the state race. Just kind of like nationals could be like, the qualifiers for the nationals could be like your local qualifying, race to get to the nationals. So we did
Yeah.
run, the the little prelim race before we get to the state race, which could be the national race. You know what I'm saying? So it just
Right.
weeded out. It weeded out that
I
group that just wanted to just come in and sign up, and then it kept the entry count down too. Because you got to
right.
you got to earn your way in. It's an earn your way in type thing. So
You do, and I believe in that. I genuinely believe in that.
mhm,
I think there's logistics that need to be done it, and I would be probably a lot more into it. Say if Roar did go to a race time event and say, hey, we want to use your race, or they go to Joey and we're going to use the dirt or Silver State, or we're going to use some of these as a qualifier to go to the nationals, right?
Mm-hmm.
The issue that Roar will have in that is, what benefit is that to those race promoters?
Yeah.
So, because in order for that to be a qualifier, they're going to have to run under Roar rules and guidelines,
Right. You got
right?
to.
So
Yeah.
now, you're going to make those promoters, now they have to have more staffing to do the tech, because now you have to have tech.
But when
So,
Roar shouldn't Roar do the tech, since they want that to be
so
a Roar race? Shouldn't they do the tech? And go
again,
ahead. Mhm.
so this is where you would have to decide what's more important to you.
Okay.
Is it more important to you to have your membership dollars send Roar tech officials all over the country every year to go to all these races and go run tech? Or is it more beneficial to you to have your membership dollars find a new way to introduce people to the hobby? Like,
See,
where, because the dollars only go so far, so you got to
right,
choose where you're going to go. Are you going to go with promotions, or are you going to go with sending people on vacation?
right. And then, like I said, bro, we travel all over, like here, South. I'm in the South, so in Southeast
Right.
would be my kind of region. And but man, it's very rarely that I ever hear of even like how to be a part of Roar, like what Roar
Right.
does. So we don't even really know how to even, like register to be a part of Roar, what all we can get. I believe they should really talk more with each regional, tracks in that region to inform the races of what's the benefits of being,
100% agree.
yeah,
I
of being
they
Roar.
they need to go back to basics.
Mhm.
They need to go back and start from the beginning. Don't worry about running races. Go back to, this is our rule book, these are our guidelines. This is what we as a sanctioning body can offer you as a track
Mhm.
and a track owner, and start back from basics to get people to buy into the Roar system, because right now nobody has any faith in it. Nobody believes in the rules. Nobody believes in their teching processes. Nobody believes in anything that has to do with Roar.
Right.
And it's unfortunate Roar brought this on themselves. I mean, it's not like me as a racer. I mean, I've been to 2 Roar Nationals this year, and both Roar Nationals were train wrecks.
Right.
Like, the organization of the race. So the race management team that they're sending all over the country to do this, they suck. They're terrible at their job. They don't know how to run a race.
Right.
And so me as a member, I'm paying this guy, and then I'm paying another $100 per class to go to this race.
Mhm.
And these guys suck. They can't run a race efficiently or
Efficiently. Right.
effectively,
Right.
or there's no organization to it. Like the carpet nats this year, we didn't even have a drivers meeting. How do you not have a drivers meeting?
Right. You just
Like,
when we start, yeah. Go ahead.
we had a handout tire at that race, and the rules are, you're supposed to buy your tires from the hobby shop and then go mount your tires, and then the tires get teched, right, for all these first stock classes.
Right.
Well, their handout system was, I mean, it was ridiculous. People ended up not even buying tires and just using tires that they had and just got them teched. Like, it was a complete train wreck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is absolutely no excuse for that.
Right.
Zero
Right. So yeah, man,
at that level.
we just gotta see what Clayton's gonna do, and
And I think he has, like, again, Clayton has, he's ambitious and
right.
he's eager and he sees, I can tell that he understands the changes that need to take place. I just hope that his I don't want to say this in a bad way, but bossiness, I guess, would be kind of a way. His demeanor of we're going to get this done, whether you like it
Straightforward.
or not,
Yeah.
mentality, right?
Mentality. Yeah.
That
hmm
military go get it done mentality is it's going to be hard for people to accept, especially when they're all volunteers.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing to roar. Like I think in order for an organization to succeed or anything in life, you have to be committed to it. You have to really believe in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard to commit 30 hours a week to something that you're not getting you're not getting benefited from.
Benefit
Like
from. Right.
you're not getting paid, you're not getting there's nobody that's Clayton can spend all a ton of time and change Roar, and then he can leave Roar, and nobody's gonna know him. Nobody's gonna know. Like there's no benefit for him, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna say in the moment, yeah, man, Clayton, he's doing great. He's making change. It's great. It's awesome, and he can spend 2 years or 3 years or 5 years 30 hours a week doing this for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then when his time's up and he's over all the BS and he walks out the door, it's for what? He got
Right.
nothing out of it,
Yeah.
right? To say, I may change at Roar, like who cares?
And
So that's the other side of it is those guys should like the committee, the executive committee, like I'll believe if I'm not going to take that job unless you're paying me. I'm sorry. My time's too valuable. And
yeah.
that's the reason why I'm not involved in Roar right now because I don't have the time to throw away like that.
Were you involved with Roy at one time?
I was a regional director at one time. I was
Okay.
involved in the competition side of things. Like my mom back in the '80s, she was vice president of Roar for a little bit. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I've been around it a long time,
Yeah.
and again, so growing up as a kid racing, my parents, my mom got involved in Roar. That was the way how she kind of made herself, you know, involved in the hobby. My dad freaking opened up a hobby shop. That was his way of, being
Oh.
involved in the
Mm-hmm.
hobby. And it was all for me, right? Like I'm a
Yeah.
spoiled brat. I'll admit that. But that's how people get involved in the moment is because my kid's doing it or because it's fun. But man, I'm telling you, doing stuff for free that much, it's
Get
hard.
old.
And
Yeah.
Clayton's, I mean, he's already been there and he already quit once because he
Got
was he
frustrated.
wasn't getting anywhere. He was
Right.
frustrated.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
man.
and I hope that doesn't happen again. I do.
Yeah.
I hope he sticks it out and I hope that he can find a way to make change and get the values of what Roar is. Like, what is the value of Roar? What is the point of it? It's not
Okay.
to go run races.
Yeah.
It's to promote other
Promote. Right.
races, promote
And then
tracks, promote
and
the
then
hobby
yeah.
shops.
And they should be helping with um like I say, promote hobby shop promotion, period, man. Cause like I say, this sport is good enough to be streamed more regularly and possibly get more eyes on it, maybe hit, like Barstool Sports or something like that, maybe a little bit of ESPN, something like that, if it's promoted right, and
It is
seen
100%
on them,
agree.
yeah. But we ain't gonna stay on Roy. But hey, if anybody got any questions about anything, y'all put y'all questions in the chat, and I'll pop them up here. But moving on from that, man. Like I said, you said your dad had the hobby shop, and do you think sponsorship format like it is? Do you think it's hurting the hobby shops and also affecting why some of these tracks are closing down, Jeff?
I don't think the sponsorships have an effect on the tracks themselves, but it definitely killed the hobby shops. So,
Okay.
well, I guess it depends on the side. So the hobby shop that has the track, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
the sponsorships are killing them. The club tracks, it doesn't have any effect on. The privateer tracks where it's just a track with maybe like a little pro shop, kind of like what we have here in my area.
Okay.
We have this beautiful carpet track. It's a really nice facility, and
Yeah.
we have a little tiny pro shop inside that just carries enough parts for some of our local racers if they break, an A arm or just the bare minimum
Bare
just to
minimum.
keep racers going. That's
Yeah.
all it is. We're not the the pro shop, if you will, isn't there to drive or make money. It's there to keep people racing.
Yes.
The track is the track. We just want the track to support itself. So it's not a club track; it's a for-profit track, but it's big enough to where it'll support itself. But the
I got you.
sponsorships themselves,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean,
Well, okay.
It's not changing. It's not going to go anywhere. I think the only thing that's changing on the sponsorship side of things
Okay.
is more on the pro level side. So like the manufacturers are getting away from paying drivers. I mean, they just are. They're going back to,
Uh-huh.
we'll give you product, we'll get you to races, we'll pay you a contingency, but we're not paying you. We're not giving you a paycheck. I think that side of things is definitely going away. The 50 off and the little um, the bonus programs of these what we call guaranteed customer kind of type of things. That's the industry. That's where we're at, and that's not going to change. That's not going anywhere.
So what do you really dislike about the sponsorship of today?
I my problem
What really
my
gets on?
problem with
Yeah.
it is the people, is the racers. So I'm a very loyal person by
Okay.
nature. Like I've bounced around. I've had all kinds of sponsors. I've changed chassis a bunch of times. Um, I mean, I've been with J Concept since the day Jason opened up his doors. So I mean, that's my most loyal
Oh yeah.
person. I would die for Jason and Allison, and
Right.
I mean, I would go. There's nothing I wouldn't do for those people because they've done a lot for me over the years.
Okay.
But like chassis, to me, again, it's the industry we're in, it's the society we're in, non-committal.
Mm-hmm.
My thing with the sponsorships is what I have a hard time dealing with is a guy that will take a sponsorship, not because he earned it or because he deserves it, but because he says, "Hey, XYZ company, will you sponsor me?" And XYZ company says, "Sure, send me a resume." And he types up a little thing that says, "I went to 2 races or 10 races, or I'm the club race king, and I win every weekend at my local club track or
Yeah.
whatever." And XYZ company says, "Okay, yeah, you're good. Here's your 50% discount code. Every time you order from, our online store, just put this code in, you get your discount, blah, blah, blah."
Right.
100%, I'm okay with all of that. My problem, my personal problem is when that guy then gets this sponsorship, and he's getting it more so because he wants to fit in with the
Mm-hmm.
industry. Like I the more hashtags you got, the faster you are, right? That's what it is. If I can say I'm sponsored by 20 people, I must be faster than you because look at all the sponsors I have and you only have one. Like that's how we determine how good we are nowadays.
Right.
So my biggest problem is that guy that gets this sponsor and then turns around to go get another sponsor who's kind of relatively in the same market is the one that he just got.
Okay.
So if you take a just kind of relate it. So if we take like say J Concepts, right?
Right.
So if I'm a J Concepts driver
Mm-hmm.
and J Concepts main thing is what bodies and tires and accessories for your car. But
Okay.
then I go to One Up and I say I want to be sponsored by One Up as well. Well, One Up and J Concepts compete on the
Competes.
accessory side.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, or I go to Shell and I'm a J Concepts strip because really all I want J Concepts for is the tires because I need a tire sponsor. So that's really all I care about. But I like these other brands. I like their turnbuckles better. Or I like their accessories. Well,
Accessories.
that's
Yeah.
no. You're on with J Concepts. You're committed for all of their products, not just the one
Tire.
that you want to run.
I got you.
And so that's what just drives me insane is those guys that pick and choose what product they want to use from said sponsor. And now you're seeing a lot like with hobby shops. So now you're having like these guys who say, "Oh, I'm sponsored by Absolute Hobbies because I run HB brand cars," right?
Right.
Well, my sponsorship is with Absolute and it's so I can run HB cars, but Absolute is a hobby shop. They're in this as that's their so you should be buying all of your shit from Absolute,
Absolute.
not
Mm-hmm.
going over here to A Main and spending twice as much money with A Main as you do Absolute because the only thing you really want from Absolute is the hot HB brand stuff.
Right.
But A Main has a better selection of stuff, so I'm going to go buy all my shit from A Main. I'm just going to get HB from you. Well, that's if I'm Absolute, like I would be pissed over that. I'd be irritated.
Mm-hmm.
You should buy all your shit or as much as you can from me. I get if I'm out of stock on something and you need it to go race, then yeah, go do what you got to do to race.
Right.
But
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's you ought to be loyal to one brand, to everything in that brand, you know. But
that's right.
so what why do you feel, why do you dislike someone just getting like, okay, we just using J Con just because they my sponsor too. We just use them for example. If they just use J Concept just for the tires and not like the wings and bodies, and they run another brands, you think that's hurting J Concepts stuff, or
I don't think it's necessarily hurting them by any means, but I think it's it's a loyalty thing. It's back to being a loyalty thing. You know, like so here's my philosophy, and this is just my own personal thing, right? So if I'm sponsored by TLR and J Concepts, right?
yeah,
So if I'm going to run, we'll take it on a body side. So say I just don't like the J Concepts body. I think they suck, right? I don't. I love them, but I'm just saying. But I think that the TLR body looks better. So I want to run the TLR body. I'm okay with that.
mm-hmm.
But if I wanted to go run a Proline body, I have an issue with that.
Okay,
So like so if your chassis, if you're gonna run the factory stuff that comes with the kit, I have no issues with it. Like if you wanted to run the TLR has their own titanium turnbuckles, and
right,
you just like those better than you do the JC ones, so be it. Go run those.
right.
But
Yeah,
don't go run a competing aftermarket company's products. That's my issue.
okay,
I
okay,
just think that you know it's and we need to get away from this mentality of the more hashtags I have because that's where that's what's driven us here is I have more sponsors so that just automatically makes me better and it of course it doesn't like you're driving on the track is what makes you better. You know, you going out and practicing is what's going to make you better. How many sponsors you have is just how many phone calls you made. That's
right.
that's all it is.
I get it. So
But
okay,
but the sponsorships now, so the other side to sponsorships too,
mm-hmm.
that's interesting to me that I think is it's going to be interesting to see where it goes because this year is the first time where you've had manufacturers openly say they were going to cut back. So I listened to Thomas Tran, the TLR um, team manager. He openly said we're looking at cutting back our overall sponsorships this year.
Right, I
Okay.
remember that.
So I'm going to be really interested to see if that happens because again, like we're in this funky area now where racers are coming and going. Like they're racing for they've been racing for however many years, 2 years,
Hmm.
10 years, 15 years, whatever. And they're kind of grandfathered in on some of these sponsorships.
Right.
Well, at some point, those sponsorships should go away. And when that racer comes back, he's got to start all over and start back to, hey, I'm going to go club race. I'm going to go regional race. Now I'm getting back into the swing of things. Now I should go back and start looking for sponsors if I'm going to continue. But if it's kind of a one-off thing, do you really need a sponsor to go club race once a month? Do you really need a sponsor to go to one regional race every
Once,
quarter?
yeah,
You know,
it makes sense.
no, you don't. You don't.
Hmm.
If you're racing every
I see what you're
weekend
saying. Right, I see what you're
and
saying.
and you're traveling and you're doing all, then I'm go get sponsors. Go get help to keep you going to the track, to keep you invested in the hobby.
Right.
100% for it. But if you're doing it just because you want to be cool and you're still only going to race once a month, go do something else. Like you don't need a sponsor.
So
Go to
you
the
saying,
track. Go to you know.
if somebody just is coming in and and a company wants to, maybe they're not that good and they just do other things
No,
other than race.
you don't. You don't need a sponsor. You need to go to the track and just have a good time. That's your involvement. That's your commitment. Don't worry about sponsorships, because I guarantee you, if you're any type of
Hmm.
a friendly guy
Hmm.
and you go to the track, even if you went to the track once a month and you made a couple friends and you go hang out at the track or whatever, and you need a part, I can guarantee you there's somebody at the track that's going to give you that part or help you get that part. Or if you wanted to go buy a new kit tomorrow and hey, my buddy's buddy is sponsored by XYZ company, I'm pretty sure if you went and asked that dude, hey, is there anything you can do to help me get this, get this? I guarantee you there's ways to save the $10 or $20 that you're saving if you're a
Uh,
sponsor driver by just talking to other racers and working together rather than just going out and trying to get a sponsor just to say you're sponsored.
so you saying Jeff, you the driver. I'm your pit man, and
That's
we've
right.
been killing it together. But I
Man,
only
I'm
race,
taking care of your ass.
and I'm only racing, um, you know, every every other month, every month, maybe twice, maybe at the most, maybe twice a month, and but I'm killing it with you. So, and we represent this company, and say I just do media. You know what I'm saying? I put you out
Mm-hmm.
there, I make sure you look good
Yeah,
and fluff you up and everything, and
damn
so
right.
I don't deserve no sponsorship.
I'm saying you're only racing once a month. No, you
Yeah.
don't deserve a sponsorship. Now, I'm saying you make me look good and you
Yeah.
keep me going and you're my boy. I'm going to take care of you as the sponsored driver.
Okay.
But you don't need to
Right.
be sponsored.
What? Okay.
But I'm gonna take care of your ass because you're keeping me going and you're helping me out. I'm gonna
Uh,
help you out. You know
I see.
why does a company need to sponsor both of us if I'm racing every single weekend, or in my case I race 3 times a week and then I still do my regional stuff?
Uh-huh.
And, this kid that goes with me every now and then, he don't need to be sponsored. I'll take care of his ass. I'll make sure that he's getting what he needs to stay running as cheap as possible. But he don't need to be sponsored. I'll take care of that. Now, if you start racing a bunch and you're doing
Yeah.
this on your own, or you're doing that and we're kind of hanging out at the track once in a while, then
Yeah.
whatever. But if you're not racing on a regular basis,
Yeah.
and I'm saying regular, I'm saying at least weekly, if not, you know, weekly. You should, if you're not racing weekly, you
Hmm.
shouldn't be sponsored.
So
It's that simple.
I see Jill, I see your sponsor shirts. I see, the plaques you getting. I see, the invites to the little race festivities after the race and stuff, and I'm like, man, Jeff, I think I want to be sponsored because I want to be able to, participate in some of this stuff or be able to,
But you are,
oh,
because you're hanging out with me. So you're already in the invite. You got the invite. You're
oh,
there.
okay. I
You're
see.
in the in club already.
Okay. Okay. I'm just saying. I got you. I got you.
But now,
Okay.
but now
Uh-huh.
take so look at this side of it, right? So now on the
Okay.
same side, so now we're boys, we're running the same stuff. You may only race once a week, or you may race once a month. I'm racing every single week, right?
Hmm.
But now you decide, I don't want to run that car anymore. I want to go run this other car. So I'm still only going to race once a month, but now I'm going to go run a different type of car, a different brand, or a different manufacturer for
Yeah.
whatever it is. So now I can't take care of you, right?
Hmm.
Because we're on opposite sides. Well, we can be boys and all that, but now we're competitors too. Because now I'm competing against you because I need my brand to look better than your brand.
So I gotta go get my
So
own.
now you got to go get your own shit. Now, good luck getting a sponsorship when you're only racing, once a month.
and,
You
and
you
get-
can get it. You can get it because they give them away. But
and-
are you deserving of it? Really? Are you really
yeah.
that
I
deserving
put
of
my
it?
hard work. Yes, I put my hard work
Man,
in
please. Yeah, hard work for
to make
once a
you
month.
made you look good. Pity for
You
you, make
made me
you
look
straight.
good. That's right.
Yeah.
And I was taking care of you when you were making me look good. But now that you went on your own,
Okay.
you gotta go do that shit yourself. And if you're only racing once a month, man, you ain't gonna be very good.
Hey.
This,
Well,
this, this so I got into a big argument the other day. Not
okay. What
argument.
happened?
I got
Yeah.
into a big discussion, and
Okay.
I'm on this commitment level. Like, this is my new thing. This is my new rant.
Yeah.
We got to be committed. We don't have commitment anymore. Everybody's so flaky. Do I want to run stock class? Do I want to run mod class? Should I run 10 scale? Should I run 8 scale? Should I do what am I doing? There's no commitment in something. Everybody wants to run everything. But yet,
Hmm.
so we're not getting quality good racing because everybody just kind of does a little bit of everything instead of being really
Committed.
good at this. They're not committed to this. If you want to go run stock class, go run stock class. But don't
Okay.
try and run stock and mod, right? Because the driving styles are too different. It's too hard. I don't care who you are, it's too hard to do that. If you want to be a dirt racer, go be a dirt racer. If you want to be a carpet racer, go be a carpet racer. If you
Hmm.
want to dabble in the two, go dabble in the two, but be committed. Like, this is my priority. I'm going to go on the national or regional level scene, and I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to go dabble in that. But commit to something, and that's your home. That's your end all be all.
Hmm.
Right. This is strictly talking on the super competitive racing side of things. Like the hobbyist, the bashers,
Right.
like you go RC. I just want you to go RC. I don't care what you race. I don't care when you go race. As long as you got a remote in your hand and you're RCing and you're having a good time, like I'm all for that.
Right.
I'm talking more those dedicated, the new upcoming kids that are super dedicated and they want to be good and they want to go compete against the best and they want to go kick Mayfield's ass one day. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the only way you're going to kick Mayfield's ass one day is if you commit to this class and you go practice and you learn and you drive and you go and you go and you go and you perfect it. If you can't perfect that class because your intention is over two different platforms or three different platforms and two different types of surfaces, carpet and clay and dirt, and
Yeah.
it's too hard. It's too much. This hobby is hard. It is really hard to be good at it. And
So
when
you
you're that scattered,
uh-huh.
you're never going to succeed on that level.
So okay. Now just say I'm an upcoming good driver. Just say, you know, you familiar with Cody Watson, Mitch Watson's
I
son?
yes, yeah, yes.
Okay. So I'm a coming up fast driver like that.
Hmm.
And I'm very, very, very good in nitro, but also can wheel um two-wheel drive buggy.
Right.
And why should I limit myself just to a scale buggy if I know I still can wheel a two-wheel drive buggy? Why would I limit
Because
myself? Go ahead.
so it comes down to,
Uh-huh.
again, because this hobby is expensive in a lot of ways. It comes down to your financial abilities, right? So in his case, if he can afford, and his parents and everybody can afford for him to go compete against the best in 10 scale and an 8 scale, Schimmel is a perfect example of this, right? So Schimmel can go
Okay.
anywhere he wants in the country to go race.
Yeah.
He has the potential of being good at both, right?
Right.
If you take the horns, they're that's kind of this next tier that's coming up, right? The
Right.
horns are really good at 10 scale, not so much on 8 scale, and that surprises me because of their motocross background.
Right.
So if you take Cody in his case, I don't know what his ability is as far as can he go to the 10 scale races and the 8 scale races and compete with the best on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
or does he have to pick and choose which events he can go to? Because if you have to pick and choose and you go to one 10 scale race and you go to one 8 scale race and then you're going to go to maybe this 8 scale race
Yeah.
and then maybe this 10 scale race, or if you can go to four 8 scale races and compete against the best,
Uh-huh.
you're going to excel in 8 scale faster. But if you're going every other one, it's going to be harder to excel to and everything's in stages, right? So
Right.
we all go in stages. So, and again, I'm talking the best. I want racers to become the best. I want them to be the next Mayfield. I want them to be the next Tebow, the next Cab, the next Spencer, this level of driver.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys paid their dues. They came up in a 10 scale world and then went to 8 scale, and now they can do both.
Okay.
You have to start in a direction and master that and then branch out, because now you have the skills, you have the setup ability, you have the understanding of the car function to be able to go to any race to make setup changes and make your car work for you.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if you're newer, and I'm saying within a couple years, 2, 3, 4 years, and there's a lot to know on this,
It is.
and you can have help and you can go ask for advice. But what people don't really get is you can get a setup sheet from the pro drivers, or you can get a setup sheet from your best friend.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily work for you. Now, you can put it on and your car can go out and feel good, But if you focused on your car and you made changes to your car to fit your driving style,
What you like. Yeah.
what you like, not what somebody else tells you to like, that's when things click. That's when things really start happening.
So for you,
And that's
when you saw yourself progressing in your racing, did you really just focus on like 1/8 scale buggy? How did
I
that
did.
how did that process came about when you really start seeing yourself really okay, starting this, picking up on
So again, I started
getting
in
better?
10 scale.
Okay.
I started in 10 scale, and then of course, then I did my boat thing for a while, but then I went back to 10 scale, and then I got the nitro bug. And then when I got into nitro racing,
Mm-hmm.
10 scale didn't matter to me anymore. I still liked racing 10 scale. And this is back when I lived in Arizona and I had SRS, which was the premier 10 scale track in the freaking world. Like that was their outdoor track that was just badass. It was everything.
Yeah.
It was, and I had no interest in 10 scale because I wanted to focus on 8 scale. That was when Drake was coming up, right? And Drake
Yeah.
was he was the nitro guy, that he was the king. Richard Saxton was the man, right? Those were the guys that you wanted to
Too.
compete and win and beat because that's everybody was in that realm.
Yeah.
They were all 10 skill guys.
Yeah.
Saxton raced both, but then once he focused on nitro, it was endless. Drake is the same way.
Uh-huh.
When was the last time you saw Drake run a 10 scale car? Like never.
Never. It's been yeah. It's been like
Can Drake could Drake take a 10 scale car right now and go out and beat most people? I think probably could, you know.
yeah. Yeah.
But is he going to be as fast as his peer level right now? Hell no, he's going to be in the C main.
I can see that. I can see that.
So it's focus on where you want to go as a racer. Like, do you want to be do you want to be a well-rounded racer and race 10 scale and race 8 scale? And we're talking when you're newer, right? So if
Yeah.
you're a newer guy, you know, understand it's hard and the progression is going to take you twice as long
I got you.
because learning two different types of platforms,
Yeah.
even though people will say set up, you know, if you go to a long camera link on your 8 scale car, it's going to do the same thing on a 10 scale car, and it's not. It's the idea is the same, but the changes you make on a track level is different between the
Mm-hmm.
two. Like it
Okay.
just is.
Yeah. Okay,
Learn your
man.
car.
Yeah. Learn your car and perfect one thing, like my boy Dynasty said, and then you can move to something else that helps you your transition to be a little
Yeah.
better. And
Like I think right now, because I've been doing a lot of carpet, and so I
mhm,
haven't raced nitro. I raced nitro one time this year, and I didn't race it at all last year. Now, so I've been 100% all carpet, 10 scale carpet. Like that's been my thing for the last 2 years. And
yeah.
I feel like, again, my skill set, which isn't very good. I'm a 40 plus guy through and through, man. I love me some 40 plus class,
I
right?
understand.
So I can compete against my 40 plus people, but if I go run mod, I'm a bottom A main guy, B main guy, right? Like so my skill set in my life right now is not nearly what I would like it to be, but it's good enough for within my peer thing, right?
Right.
But when I'm this next year, because I miss nitro and I miss dirt racing in general,
Yeah.
so this next year I'm going to be doing a ton of dirt races. I'm going back to nitro.
Okay.
So am I going to put my carpet cars away and not touch? No, I'm still going to go to the track, you know, on a practice night or on a Wednesday night and still do my carpet stuff. But my weekends, that's nitro.
Nitro.
So I
I get
won't
it.
I won't hit I won't hit another carpet race next year.
Yeah.
Like I may go to the Roar Nats because it's in Florida and I want to go, but I'm not going to do 10 scale stuff next year. It's going to be all nitro and
All
all 8
nitro.
scale.
Yeah. I get it.
Because
I
I
totally.
even at me, I've been doing this for 40 years. I have to focus on one thing. I don't have the skill set and the ability to go race 8 scales this week and then
Uh-huh.
go to a big 10 scale race and race 10 scale next week. The driving styles are too far apart,
Yeah.
and I would struggle at both races instead of succeed at one of them.
At one. I got you, man. That's what's up. Hey man, we're just gonna pivot from that, man, to man, let's get into some of this silly season stuff, man.
Oh snap! Good old Snilly
Let's
season.
let's get into some of this silly season. And who came up with the name silly season? Why can this be draft season? Who gonna get drafted this year? Why
Right.
how we get silly season?
I
Where it
think
come
that
from?
started. That's a motocross thing. I
Oh,
think
it
that
is.
started. That's what they call it in motocross. It's the same thing. They call it
Oh, okay.
silly season
I
motocross. So I
got you.
think it's a. I think it came from motocross,
Yeah.
but it's to me, it's some of the funnest times of the year because and it has nothing to do with RC. Like it's just everybody's jockeying for position and moving
Right.
around,
True.
and I like it because it kind of tells you where people are in their race program a
Hmm.
lot. So like if you feel really comfortable with your race program and you're doing really well, most of the time you don't change. Like
Yeah.
you believe in your program, you think everything's going well. Let's just keep it rolling, right?
Okay.
But if you had a really bad season, then it's not you, it's never the racer, it's always the product,
The
right?
product.
So it's like,
Yeah.
man, I suck this year, but it's not me, it's got to be my car, so I'm gonna change cars.
Okay. Let me ask you
So
this before we get
that's what
started.
silly season is to me.
Yeah. Before we get started, let me ask you this, and this may help a lot of us. Um, what's your opinion on how to build a solid race program from just the products that you need? Just what's the things that you really should focus on to build that solid um race program? What would you start off?
um
How would you build yours?
Tires.
Okay.
Tires is the most important thing.
Hmm.
So pick a brand, and again, this doesn't even have to be a sponsorship thing. It's pick a brand and learn the brand. So say you decided I'm going to run J Concepts this year.
Hmm.
So take J Concepts, get their compounds, try their compounds on multiple services and see what works and what doesn't, their tread patterns and all that, and then stick with it. Because for the guys that jump around with manufacturers, um, like on a tire level,
Hmm.
they it's there's too many options. So
Right.
so you confuse yourself and you overthink things. Like we as a society, we just overthink in general. So if I have three different brands of tires that I can choose from to go to this race,
Right.
you have too many options and you overthink it and typically you get it wrong.
Hmm.
But if you have a brand and one or two tread patterns and one compound, you're typically going to get it right.
Right.
So to me, it is tires is everything.
Okay.
Tires will make or break a race. I don't care how good your car's set up or how shitty your car's set up or how good of a driver or bad driver. If you don't have good tires or the right tires, you have no shot.
No shot. Okay.
So tires is everything. Then
Tires number
outside
one.
of tires,
Uh-huh. What would you go next?
um, So I would go tires, then of course chassis, and then electronics, um, and kind of and the accessory side is just spending money. That's all it
Right.
is. The accessory stuff doesn't make you faster.
Okay. For the electric guys,
And then
what okay.
so the biggest thing on sponsorship side, on like especially in a newer racer, is
Mm-hmm.
I would go to your track, your local track. If you're a club racer and you primarily club race, you don't do a lot of regional stuff or travel outside of your area. The best, me personally, I would give anybody advice is go to your hobby shop and get in with your hobby shops. Every hobby shop isn't going to give you some crazy 50 off discount deal, whatever, but they will do something for you if you're loyal to them, right?
Okay.
And then stick with a brand. So you don't have to, because J Concepts isn't going to sponsor everybody because they're one of the premier tires. So you can go to, you can get it, anybody can get a tire sponsor. I don't care who you are. You can be racing for less than 6 months and go get a tire sponsor. But if you go get a tire sponsor from, say, VP Pro, right? Which is knockoff J Concepts, knockoff Proline. The problem with like a VP Pro sponsorship is their compounds don't work.
Yeah.
So you can go get that sponsorship and you could be sponsored by VP Pro or Dialed Hobbies or whoever is going to import them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is if that tire doesn't work, you're not going to win and you're
Right.
not going to be competitive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you may not be able to go get a J Concept sponsorship or a Proline sponsorship or a Hot Race sponsorship, but you could go get in with a hobby shop who can
Yeah.
get those.
Okay.
And at least you're going to get them somewhat cheaper than paying retail or, however discount you can get, whatever it is that you can do, go be buddies with somebody that is sponsored by them and get your tires or products through them. But tires is everything.
Tires. Okay. So we got tires, and then we got a a good solid chassis. Like you
And
said.
so chassis, if you take even on the chassis side, so if
Mm-hmm.
you're again staying at the local level, so if you go race and you're club racing every week or every other
Mm-hmm.
week or whatever, and you go and everybody at your track is running TLR associated, and you go out and you get Schumacher, right?
Yeah.
And you're the only one at the track that's running Schumacher. You think you're going to be successful? Probably not, because
Right.
Schumachers are hard to get running. Schumachers are really difficult to dial in. And if you have no support and no help, and you're trying to get this thing going on your own and you're a newer racer, you're going to struggle. Go with a fad, go with what's working, go with what people are there running,
Right.
and get help from the people that are constantly doing this. Don't go be that guy that is going to get a sponsorship with you know XYZ company because it's different.
Right.
I'm going to be the only X-ray driver here at my local track. I'm going to be the only Schumacher driver here at my local track because I want to be different. That's fine, but understand you're going to struggle because some of those cars are really hard to set up.
Yeah.
So it again, and it comes down to what is your purpose? What do you want? Do you just want to go have fun and be different? Then do that. If you want to go race and compete and win and learn, doing this on your own is the hard way. That's the long way.
I got you.
Everybody needs help.
I got you. I got you. Um.
But silly season, so if
Yeah.
you go silly season and we're talking pro level drivers, like there's some cool exciting stuff that happened this last couple weeks. So like the one that shocked me was Jackson Brunson leaving HB. That's a big one. Like
What?
Jackson. So here's a guy, right? So
Hey, before we say it now, this is our opinions, and this might be true. I haven't heard this one, so
Oh, he posted it. It's on his Facebook
okay,
page.
okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
this
So
most of this.
Jackson.
Go
So
ahead, go ahead.
Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, who was probably next to Cole Ogden, was like HB number 2 driver, right? Like
Right.
that was
What you got? You
he
know, you got the
and
fullers.
again he
Got the fillers.
committed. Like he left Associated, and he
Right.
had a great race program with Associated to go HB because he wanted to commit to 8 scale.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care about 10 scale. He I'm going to be an 8 scale driver. That's Jackson. So I'm going to go to HB. And I
AJ.
thought that was a great move for him because HB is a great car.
Yeah.
And so I haven't talked to Jackson forever, but I don't know why he moved or why he left them. I'm sure there's a great reason. I can't wait to find out. But that one shocked me because
That is a shock because he was taught so highly. HB is the what's they call the HB heat wave. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and he was
And
doing good with it. Like he was doing great with that car.
right.
So, I mean that one to me. Now, I'm only guessing, and it's strictly a guess. I have no idea, but I'm assuming that he's probably going to go to S Works. And the way how I come up with that conclusion is because he just moved to Arizona.
Right.
The S Works team manager's in Arizona. He's racing at Adobe week in and week out. The S Works team manager's there. This mysteriously from HB. I'm pretty sure,
He got some
there's
S
but
work.
I can be completely wrong. I have no idea, but that's my guess is he's probably going to go S Works,
S
and that's
work.
a great car too. Like
Right.
I think he'd do equally as good with it. But that one shocked me. I was surprised
It
to see
did
that
because
one.
he was like you said. He was really killing it with the HB. Made the worlds,
He
one of the
was,
worlds. You know.
he was.
Um. So yeah, that's a
So I think that one was exciting to me,
yeah.
and then we still have the Tebow question. So where's Tebow going to is the
Tebow
Tebow leaving Techno and
Techno. Mm-hmm.
so where's he going to go? I have no idea. I've
I
absolutely.
know.
I think he's going to go S Works as well.
I don't.
Um,
I think I know where he gonna
that's
go.
you do. Where do you think he's going to go? Come on, don't be bashful, man. Don't be like that. Don't be these censored people. Just speak your.
Don't
We're
be
just.
like
This
Keenan.
is.
Be
We're just in the pits.
political
We're
correct.
in the
Don't be
pits
like Keenan White.
bullshitting, man. And we're like two little schoolgirls, and you just heard a
Hey,
little rumors. You came from the bathroom and you heard someone say, "Oh my God, I heard Tebow's going to go to where?"
hey. My opinion on it, I think he's gonna go to Miyako, man. He's gonna shock the world.
Oh gosh, no, no, no,
He's gonna shock
no.
the world. Why not? He got all the options.
He
He
does.
he been on plenty of shows with you, right?
Yeah,
It's a
but
little relationship there.
I don't know how. I don't know what his relationship with JQ is. So I can tell you for certainty, it could have changed, but
Mm-hmm.
Tebow and JQ did not like each other for a very, very long time. Now that could have changed. I mean, I
Times
don't know
change.
because
Times
I've been out of the
change.
loop, and
Yeah.
JQ's changed too. So don't JQ is ever since he got off the internet and he stopped running his freaking mouth.
Yeah. My boy
He's
Destiny.
changed a little bit.
Yeah, my boy Destiny said he says Miyako also. And then my boy
So I wouldn't be shocked. I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked. But I mean, maybe,
all right.
maybe.
Okay. Watch
It'd be
what you
interesting. I just want to know why is it taking him so long to announce this thing? Like we
that's a
got
good question though.
15 days left of the month, and he's already got whatever he's going to run. He's already got the stupid car, and he's running. He's practicing with it somewhere.
Right. So
Because
I don't know.
somebody like Tebow isn't going to just pick a Miyako and never drive the car. He's going to drive that car for a little bit.
A little bit to get used to it, right? My guy Marcus Butler right here says he's gonna maybe go back to stay with Techno or go back to Kyosho. What you think?
So Kyosho, I could kind of maybe see that one, but again, so it comes down to a paycheck. Kyosho's not going to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Kyosho, because they're going to pay one driver and they're paying Lutz. They're not going to pay anybody else.
I believe that too. What about
So I don't. But and I don't know Tebow's situation now. I don't know if is he going to stay in RC for a paycheck, or is he staying in RC because his kids are getting into it now, and his focus is going to be more towards his kids and less on his own. Because
I
if that's the
believe
case, his options are limitless. Like if he's just because
right.
anybody will sponsor Tebow at we'll give you free product and we'll give you contingency and we'll pay your way to go to some races. It's all about this paycheck for those guys. Who's going
It
to
is.
pay? Who's going to give me an actual paycheck every single month, regardless if I'm racing or not?
Yeah.
So that's to me. That's I don't know where Tebow's at in his life as far as that stuff goes.
But yeah, he like I said, I believe he still got I think about 4 good years in him still. So he's still competitive,
Oh,
but
he's
and it's still
Tebow's still a top
right.
five.
Still top
He's
five.
in my top five.
And then I
He's in
think
my
it's a little
top
bit of
five.
both because I think his boys gonna really spark him too. You know what I'm saying? Motivate him that much more too to help him since his boys are now up to that age that they about to get into it. And
Yeah.
so
Well, that's going to be his new motivation, right? That's his succession. That's going to be his legacy. Is
mm,
would his kids be interested enough to stay in the hobby and you know take
yeah.
over?
What
Which
you
is
think?
cool. Like it's.
What you think about TLR? What you think who they got coming? You think Cav gonna stay where he's at? You think Finn
I
gonna?
think Cav's staying. Finn
Mm-hmm.
ain't going anywhere. He's going to stay. I think Cav will stay. I don't think there's going to be many moves on the TLR side. I think they're pretty. I mean, shit, they're winning everything right now anyway. They don't need to make any changes.
Right. But what you think with S Works? You said Jackson
So
Brunson is
S Works is making
prime
a well.
candidate.
S Works is making a lot of moves. S
Right.
Works is S Works is probably the biggest brand in Europe,
Uh-huh.
and I think I think they are making a huge push in the States as well. They just got their new two-wheel drive cars out, so they're making a multiple platform push. The reason why I say Tebow because Tebow would be the only driver that they have that can run 10 scale as well as he can 8 scale.
Right.
So
That's
right
true.
now their hopes and dreams is Bornhorst on the 10 scale side.
Uh-huh.
And let's be honest, Tebow would run circles around Bornhorst tomorrow on a 10 scale track.
Yeah.
They're equally competitive on the 8 scale side of things. I still think Tebow's probably faster. If they're racing 10 out of 10, Tebow's taken 70% of the wins. On the 10 scale side of things, Tebow's going to win 10 out of 10 times. So if their push right now is the 10 scale side as well, Tebow's the open driver that can put them in a position where they can win 10 scale races as well as 8 scale races.
Yeah. Cool,
That's
cool.
my thought process on that. That's why I think. But
Oh, hold on. Let's don't forget about Agama got their new buggy coming out, the one with the lay down shop.
yeah, who's gonna even buy that car?
It's a
Like
few on order. I done talked
there's
to a few people
who's
that want to get one. What
yeah
who you
yeah
who you think they
man
may pick up with Brandon Rose coming up with
nobody.
still
Brandon
nobody.
Rose ain't even gonna run that car. that thing's even beneath Brandon Rose.
Come on,
Come on
man.
now.
my
It,
boy, my boy AJ Waters trying to get here, aka Mr. Twitch. But yeah, he just hanging out with us. But but yeah, so you don't think Alabama's gonna pick up anybody this
no,
year?
I don't. No, I don't think so. I think they would have to give that car away to a lot of people to get them to run it.
But they ran it at RCGP, Jeff, and it actually did look pretty good.
Yeah, on that track that was super hooked up with crazy traction,
And then they ran it.
and
He ran at the Worlds
and
too. What's his name? Martin. Yeah. Um.
yeah,
So
yeah. We'll see
we
how
got.
that works out.
We'll see how. Yeah, we'll see how
You
that.
we can revisit that at the end of the year, at the end of next year, and you can tell me the people that bought that car are they still running that car,
Okay.
right? That so the beginning of the year, if I went out and bought that car, what's the chances of that person actually still running that car by the end of the year?
Well, we got a candidate right here, Mr. Marcus Butler. He's gonna get it, and we gonna see.
He's gonna get it. Well, then
Yeah.
I would like to stay up on him because I would like to know how long it takes. In fact, we should take some bets. Like we could put a bet out on this. How long is it going to be before you say, "Well, this thing sucks. I'm just going to go to something else." Like that's just not happening.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
know,
So,
but I give him an A for be thinking outside the box and.
mm-hmm. So what you think about Associated? Who you think is gonna make the jump or stay? You think Ripken's gonna stay at Associated?
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah. They won't let him go anywhere. He's their number one.
it's been a lot of chatter over there. It's been a lot of fuss with
Yeah,
Ripken.
he ain't going anywhere. I don't know. I don't think associated. I don't think you're going to see a ton of moves on the associated side as
Mm-hmm.
far as like the elite levels. You're going to see a lot of that B level drivers kind of jockeying for position. You might see some TLR guys go to associated and some
Yeah.
associated guys go to TLR, but on the elite side, your cream of the crop guys. I don't think aside from Mayfield's move.
Yeah.
Now I do think. Now I do. I strongly, strongly, strongly believe Mayfield's going to run associated 10 scale cars.
Okay. So he'll move away from the Yokomo and come over to the
Yeah,
10.
he's done with Yokomo. I think I'm pretty confident that he'll probably run um, 10 scale cars through A Main Hobbies.
Okay.
So he's not going to be sponsored by Associated directly, but he'll be able to run them through A Main Hobbies or even probably because he's got such a good relationship with Pillars, he could
Right.
probably go through one up.
Uh-huh. That makes sense.
Which that actually is what's so like this is what part of drives me nuts, right? So like if Mayfield, best
Right.
of the best,
Uh-huh.
world's best, right? J Concepts driver through and through, but then he's gonna go race for one up and under the team associated brand, is he going to run one up turnbuckles or is he going to run JC turnbuckles? Because
Mm.
this is important, man. This is like an important decision, right?
Right.
'Cause back to
What
what I was
about
talking about before, that should drive me nuts.
yeah? What you think about
But
what you thinking about?
no,
What about X-ray? You think the
I
Testmans?
don't know anything about. I think Testmans hate X-ray, but I don't think they have anywhere else to go. So
Why you think that? Why you think they sticking with
Be, because well, for the paycheck for one. See, so Testmans are in a weird situation because it's not just Thai
uh-huh.
that a manufacturer has to pay. So they have to pay Gord as well. They're a package deal, right?
Yeah.
So if it was just Thai would have tons of options. But because they have to take Gord on and as a paycheck as well, there's not too many manufacturers out there that's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're not willing to split, they're stuck with X-Ray because X-Ray is the only brand that's going to pay both of them a
Yeah.
paycheck.
Okay.
But what about, so let me ask you this.
What's
So
up?
away from the driver's side of things,
Hmm.
right? I think this year is going to be a unique year in the sense of manufacturer changes.
What you mean by
So manufacturer changes right now, the biggest one that I think is going to catch people by surprise is Trinity.
that? Okay.
Okay, so this is an insensitive thing. I don't want to piss anybody off, but so Ernie, who's the face of Trinity, right, is
Right.
dead. He's out.
Yeah, he
So
passed away.
Trinity now, where do they go? So Kevin is now the face of Trinity, and Kevin's not happy
Hmm.
because he has to deal with a bunch of people that, he's got to deal with Ernie's family now that technically own Trinity, but don't have anything to do with Trinity.
Okay.
So now Kevin has to deal with all of their BS. And I'm pretty confident, like, I don't know 100%, but I know he's not happy. So if Kevin left Trinity
Trinity.
tomorrow,
Hmm.
right, what does that do to Trinity?
Oh.
Who's left? Because there's only two people that work at Trinity right now, Kevin and AJ. And Kevin is the face. Kevin does most of the motor work. He does everything. Like, Kevin does
Right.
everything. So Kevin leaves Trinity tomorrow. What happens to Trinity? Do they stay floating or do they go under?
Mm. If they don't have anybody, that they know that's gonna pick up the slack if he leaves, if they don't have a backup plan, then it's possible that they may go under,
I,
but it
I
may
think
be
I think uh,
somebody might step in and pick it up. Somebody from Reedy or
it would
something.
be interesting. I think there's going to be some. I think this next year, this is a big year for Trinity because if Kevin sticks it out, he can make Trinity work. But if Kevin left to go do his own thing or go work for another manufacturer,
Yeah.
which I really wish he would go do his own thing, I think he would just make a kick-ass brand.
Okay.
But I I think Trinity would go under. I don't think Trinity would recoup. I don't think they have the backing. Ernie kept that thing going because of who Ernie was.
Right.
But his family isn't committed to the company. His family's just there collecting revenue.
Revenue. Okay. That
So
makes sense.
I think Trinity is on the verge of a big change if Kevin left. So I
So
think that's going to be a big one. And now you have Lunsford, right? So Lunsford went under.
right.
But here, this is what's surprising to me is Lunsford, which is this staple of titanium.
Titanium
Lunsford brought
turnbuckle.
titanium to the industry,
Right.
right? And they've been the staple for
For
decades. And
decades.
all of a sudden, they just close their doors because they retire and all that. You can't tell me that, and Lunsford is made in the U.S. Like, it's one of the one manufacturers that they did all
Made
their
it.
manufacturing right here.
Right.
Somebody isn't going in to buy them out and take it over and run that or do something. They're just going to let all of their branding over the umpteen dozen
Yeah.
decades just die.
Just die out. I don't see it happening, but it's looking that way. I haven't heard anything or anybody had any write up
Well,
about it.
so let me ask you this question then: is so a company like JC right now, they are you can see where they're starting to make a turn in new product releases with, like, the bearings.
Hmm.
They're starting coming out with more titanium screws. Like, they're doing some screw kits now, which is a completely new industry.
Yeah,
Are
I noticed
they
that.
are they just are they just buying screw kits from Japanese manufacturers and rebranding them, or could somebody like JC buy out the Lunsford tooling and rebrand Lunsford stuff? I mean, to me that's kind of the interesting stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't I the amount of money it would take to buy out the tooling would be ridiculous, but I just can't see Lunsford just done.
It's
Like
done like that. Yeah,
I
for years.
no nobody's going in to buy him out. Nobody's going in to take it over. Nobody like it's just done. Like, I have a hard time believing that.
I think it may be something similar to like Nova Rossi with the Nova Rossi engines. Now all
Right?
of a sudden, now the Nova brand is kind of reemerging, you know,
Right?
and so I think J Concepts Jason may have made some kind of investment in it, but not really take it all the way over. Um, but I think they may be just say down for a couple of years, then all of a sudden you'll see, you know,
Something.
something,
Something.
yeah, something grow up out of
I just it has to. I just I can't imagine it.
it.
And you're right. Like so, and look at the motor industry, like the nitro motor industry. You have all of these new motors coming out with this new branding stuff. Tony Newland's releasing his new line that I don't forget what the hell it is. The hell is the name of his Race Tech engines?
Okay.
So there's this new brand that Clinic RC and Tony's putting out called Race Tech engines.
Race Tech.
And
Okay.
again, yeah, it's some Japanese brand motor, but it's not your typical OS rebranded motor. It's a completely different new design, new
Design.
thing.
Okay.
And then you got Adrian Breton bringing out his new line
Yeah, the Corsa
of
Tech.
engines, the
Yeah. Mhm.
Corsa Techs.
Yeah.
And have you seen the price point on those?
Not yet.
Like I was shocked. So
I think they're
it
reasonable.
was $200 a year, €200 dollars, which was like I think I did the exchange. It was like 235 US.
US. So
That's
that's
pretty freaking cheap.
right. And Jeff, if it's the same quality or same brand that Ronald Falk was running at RCGP, it's nasty. It's got like a deeper sound. Just say compare it to like an OS or Reds, it's got like a deeper, maybe like a 4-stroke sound, and it's
Really?
nasty. Yes,
Yeah.
it's
See, I haven't
nasty.
seen one. I haven't seen one up
Yeah.
close. I haven't heard one, but
Yes.
I mean, I know. Like I'm again. I've given David Ronafolk some shit over the years. I mean, but Adrian, he knows his shit. Like
Right.
I would run that motor tomorrow if I could ever get my hands on one. Right? Like I think because I believe I'm a person guy, so I believe in people, and I'll
Mhm.
run products because of relationships or because of people that I believe in.
Right.
And there's not a doubt in my mind that he knows his shit when it comes to motors. And I bet that's a pretty badass motor. And if that price point is legit, that's cheap. Like that is completely changing the motor game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting.
It's
It'll
gonna
be
be
interesting to
interesting to
see how
see.
long it lasts.
Right.
But
It's gonna
to
see.
me, it's the manufacturers, all these new upcoming manufacturers that are starting to step into the game.
Hmm.
And you're going to see that more this year than you probably have in years past.
Exactly. Yeah. So what you think about getting back to the silly season? Let's see what Mugen. What's your deep is for Mugen is
So my philosophy on
the
Mugen
leaving.
is
Go
no.
ahead.
So Mugen to
Hmm.
me, Mugen sticking with Drake. That's their guy, and that's it. They don't need Mugen. Doesn't need Mugen is probably the number one 8 scale brand in the U.S.
Okay.
So they can get by for 2 or 3 years, 2 years, probably not three, at least 2 years of no factory driver outside of Drake. and still be relevant and still sell kits and still be popular.
Mm-hmm.
And then by about that second year-ish, going into year 3,
Yeah.
then their sales are going to start decreasing because Mayfield's going to increase the techno sales, and S-Works is going to
Right.
start making a bigger stamp, and so all these other companies are going to start taking those drivers from Mugen because everybody wants to stand behind a winning brand.
Right.
And if Mugen doesn't have a winning driver, people will eventually start going somewhere else so they have a rooting interest. But it's going to take 2 years. And so Mugen can ride this Mayfield train that has built this Mugen Mafia thing,
Right.
and they can ride that out for 2 years, and then by year 3 they'll have to sign some new hot shot to take them to the promised land again.
Right. Because
But
Mugen, they
because this isn't the first time Mugen's done this,
okay.
so keep this in mind. Mugen has gone this route before, where they had back in the older days. That's when they had Chad Bradley and Bobby Tillman and all these super fast 8 scale drivers.
Right.
And then overnight, like, they were done. Everybody that ran Mugen was no longer running Mugen. They canceled all their contracts. And
True.
Mugen ran 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
and then
And then
and then
they
that's kind of they started bringing back drivers, and then they landed Mayfield, and then you know.
yeah. But then again,
So
keep
this is a pattern.
right. Keep in mind though, on the European side, they also let Robert Batal go
Hmm.
from well, he's from Spain or Italy, one of them. I think
Spain,
Spain.
yeah, he's
And then
Spain,
but then they still have the Killick brothers over there.
right? So
Both of
so the
those,
Killick's going to be their bread and butter. Like, that's
right.
going to be their,
Because they finished in the top 5 of the world, I think, both of them, I think, something like
yeah.
that. So
Yeah, that's going to be their bread and butter, and they'll make. I'm sure they'll make a couple trips over here. They'll probably come for DNC, and they'll probably come for Silver State, or
yeah.
they'll make a few appearances over here. But
Hmm.
again, it's Mugen has built a base where there's going to be your diehard Mugen guys that come hell or high water. They're never going to leave, but for the most part, they're the most popular brand in 8 scale racing, and they can ride that for a couple of years before they start seeing any significant,
Right.
losses.
Boss. Hmm.
And so they can take 2 years off, and they can pay Drake, and they can pay the Killick brothers, and have those two, 3 drivers,
Yeah.
make some money, save some money, and then go back in and reinvest in, somebody else. But
Somebody
like I
else.
said, this isn't the first time they've done this. They've done
Right.
this. They've gone through this routine a couple times, so it
Okay.
wasn't surprising to me.
Yeah. So what big impact you think Mayfield gonna have on techno? You think he's just gonna pick right up where he's been?
I do. I think Mayfield has the ability that, I mean, he will be just as competitive with the techno as he was with anything.
Okay.
I don't think he, I don't think, I don't think the car is going to limit him on if he wins or loses a race at all. I think it's going to be the same.
You think he'll help develop it and make it that much better?
Um, no, I don't. I think techno. I mean, I'm sure he's going to have input, like, on, maybe a few things that they could change, or I don't know. I think techno right now, the design of the techno car, their platform is pretty unique to them, and they're
Right.
not going to go away from it. They're
Uh-huh.
not going to change their platform. Like, Dakota, TLR built the cars around Dakota.
Right.
You know, Techno's not going to do that for Mayfield or anybody. They have their platform, their ideas, and their philosophies,
Uh-huh.
and they may make a change or two here or there to allow Mayfield to drive it a little more towards his style, his aggressiveness,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not gonna. I don't think it would change. The platform itself would change much.
Okay, cool. Now Miyako, what, why you ain't go with Miyako, Joe? You you ra-
Um,
you raced the
so
you raced the black edition, JQ. You raced the black edition, did good with it. Now
so
what
okay.
happened? What happened?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I'm listening. Break it
I
down for me.
I made a decision back then
Hmm.
to leave Associated to go run JQ
Right,
because of two reasons. One is, again, I'm a people person, so my relationship with Keenan, it was worth it for me to drop an epic sponsorship like I had with Associated because I enjoyed Keenan and I wanted to help build something with him.
right,
And on an ego side of things, I wanted to prove to myself and others that you can make any car work for you if you put the time into it.
hmm,
And I was able to be just as fast and win just as many races with the JQ car as I could with my Associated. And
right.
in fact, the JQ car was probably a little bit easier to drive than my Associated was. But my purpose behind that whole thing was just to prove that you
Point.
can win with any platform if you put the time in and because of the people. Now this Mayako thing, I believe in the car. I think the car is probably pretty good. Like I think all the cars are good.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, as much shit as I've given JQ over the years, I give him a lot of credit because his design and his platform works. Like the JQ car worked. It was a piece of shit. The JQ car was like, I'm not joking when I rebuilt that car between every race. Like I the car, but that was a material standpoint more so than a design standpoint, right?
Hmm.
The Mayako, if it's I'm sure it's better than the JQ car was. The product or the parts are definitely twice as good as the JQ
Right.
side
The
of things, the
material. Uh-huh.
durability side and the
Yeah.
material side of things. So I have no doubt that the Mayako is probably a pretty good car. My issue with the Mayako thing is um, this whole buy-in thing.
Membership type
The
thing.
yeah, the
Yeah.
membership thing. To me, I'm not paying a membership fee to be a part of a club. Like I'm just not. Like that's just not who I am. And for the people that are and want to be part of that, I mean, I'm more power to you. Like I have no issues with that. But I want to be loyal to the brand because I like the product and because I like the people behind it, not because I'm paying a membership fee. And
Right.
I just
Okay.
I don't think that philosophy works in our industry.
Hmm.
Um, now, if like I know that they say that there's the retail side, you can go buy the kit and all that other stuff, but they don't make it convenient. It's not a it's not a
Associated,
they
like easy
yeah
to get to. Yeah.
they push the membership stuff too much, and I think that's gonna hurt them in the long run because there's a lot of people that don't want to be members. They want to go buy a car. And I can go buy an Associated from A-Main tomorrow. I can go buy a TLR or whatever brand from A-Main tomorrow. If I can't go buy a Mayako from A-Main tomorrow, it's just limiting their brand ability. It's limiting their sales.
I think
So
they own.
why
I think they own that on A Main now. I think he did pull some strings and got
uh, are they?
distribution. I think so. Yeah.
Well, that would be interesting. I haven't heard that one, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if they did, then good for them.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think, I think it's definitely a better European car than it is going to be a States car.
Mm.
I
Okay.
think it's definitely designed more for the European tracks, and then of course, they have Max running it. So that car is going to be good because Max knows everything. So
So what? So you want what you scared to listen to some of Max setups? Why
no,
why
so
the why the,
let
why
me
the
let me
hesitation
get on.
of Max? Max got good
Here's
setup though, Jeff. What's
here's
up?
here's my problem with Max.
What's
So
what's up with Max,
Max,
man? Mm-hmm.
here's my problem with Max. Here's a guy whose only relevance is because he's on Keenan's show. If it wasn't for Keenan's show, there isn't anybody that would know who the hell Max Mort is, right? So now
Uh-huh.
you have a guy that has no relevance, that has no he's fast in Finland with he can beat JQ, right? We know that. He says that all the time. He can beat JQ, but that's it. Like that's the extent of his people that he can beat. But my biggest issue with Max that just drives me insane is you have a guy who is going to go on the podcast and he's going to sit here and he's going to talk about a driver and a car and a track, and he's talking about a driver he's never met. He's talking about a track he's never raced on. He's talking
Uh-huh.
about a car that he's never driven. And he's going to sit here and try and convince me that he knows the driving style, he knows the car setup. He can tell the guy what to do different from watching his car go around a track on live RC 3,000 miles away. I have a hard time buying into that. Like, I have a real issue
What?
accepting that this kid
But he knows
who
setup, Jeff. He knows setup.
he knows what JQ has told him. That's all he knows. Now JQ, I'll give JQ some credit. JQ knows his shit when it comes to setup. JQ's taught me some shit. Like, he knows what JQ has told him. That's about it. Like, what has he done on his own that
Uh-huh.
has says, I'm Max Mort, I know my shit, I can do this, right? What has he done? He hasn't done shit. Like, there's nothing that he doesn't have any accolades to say I can do this. JQ at least says, I built a freaking car. Like,
Right.
I
You
I've
right.
proven myself. I've built a car. I have Max, who I brought up and has traveled around with me, and he's gone to many races and all this other stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
like, he's just JQ's mouthpiece. Like, Max has he has nothing to back up what he says as far as, and I'm not even saying on a talent level, because I could know my shit and suck and just not
Yeah.
be a good driver. But what has he done? Who has he progressed? Who has he helped advance to be somebody? Nobody. Like, he hasn't done anything.
You
And then
right.
it drives me absolutely insane that he wants to act like he knows everything there is to know about RC, and he knows this driver can drive this car, that car. He could set up his car differently and be faster when he's never met the driver. He's never raced
Uh-huh.
on that surface. He's never driven the car, but yet he knows it.
But
Kind of hard for me to buy into that.
he says he can tell from how the car reacts.
That's
Watching
right. Yeah.
watching
From
it on
watching it on an overhead view on live
on
RC,
live
he
RC,
can
Jeff.
he can see the car over rotate coming out of the turn.
Turn young.
But I'm just, I don't know. Is it the car setup? Was it the track a little loose in that particular corner? Maybe his tires were a little worn. Can he see how worn the tires were? They brand new tires or were they used tires? Like, how do you know? How does he know? He talks too much shit. Max is the typical guy that his life, he strives to be right instead of get it right. He doesn't care about the getting it right part. He just wants to be right.
Be right.
And so he can go on the podcast and he can blow me up all he wants. And I will give him this. The one thing he did say about me in a recent podcast that I absolutely agree with is when he called me a troll, because he's damn right. I am the biggest troll
Bro.
on social media.
You
I
trolling Max?
own that.
Yeah.
I will own that to anybody, because I do. I sit and I scroll and I'll scroll and I'll scroll. And when I see somebody post some stupid shit, I'm going to be the first one to comment that that's some stupid shit.
But he said he
So,
was faster
yes,
than you though, Jeff.
he probably is. I don't give him that. The one time we did race each other, he did beat me. So he can claim that he's faster than me. I have no issues with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between us is I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you that
Yeah.
I can tell you that your car isn't set up right for you because you're racing on this particular track, on this conditions, on this
Yeah.
and that, whatever, from watching a live feed on the live RC. Now, if I'm at the races and I'm watching you drive and I'm talking to you and I'm saying, yo, man, how's this car feel? And you're telling me, oh, it's doing this or it's doing that. And we can have a conversation and I can say, hey, maybe you should try this.
You're right about that.
That's where you're helping somebody. But to sit
Right.
here and go on a podcast and say, oh, he needs to do this, or if he would have done this, I can make this, or it's just stupid.
What
It's
he
just
say?
it's
Max said he done went around European races, the Spanish Nats and the
and the
Finland.
only thing he's ever won is the Finland national championship because there's like 5 people there. He beat JQ. Like, that was it. Spanish national champion. Shut up.
But yeah, man. Hey,
Man, that guy.
man,
He's
but
the
yeah,
he's the he's the
yeah.
one guy in the industry that there's a couple actually like this, right? That have absolutely no they have no credit as far as accomplishments that they've personally made,
Mhm.
but yet act like they're as good as David Ornfolk or Mayfield, or they can go compete with these guys, or even talk on the same level, like they know the same kind of shit that these people know. Man, you haven't done shit.
Who the couple of people are? Name 'em. Call them out. I'm
So
tired of it.
another okay, so Wally with Wally builds,
Why?
right? He's another one that drives me nuts
That's your teammate.
because I Wally is a great dude. Wally's a great dude, but I'm gonna like he acts like he knows everything that there is to know about RC cars, and he's not that great of a driver. But I'm not even talking on the driving standpoint. I'm just saying, how does a guy who he knows the right people, right? So he's in
Hmm.
with the right people in
Right.
Southern California, which gives him credibility because he knows somebody who knows somebody, but not because he's done it or he's taking another driver and help them progress to become somebody, right? That's how I view how good you are. Are you a good mechanic because excuse me, because you helped XYZ driver become better? Or are you good mechanic because your own program, your car is better than you are as a driver? Like, that's how I feel. Like, my cars are typically better than I am.
Right.
So most people want it the other way around. You as a driver want to be better than your car. But, I'm not that great of a driver. So as long as my cars can outperform me, I'm happy. And as long as I can help somebody at the track and make their cars be better than them, I'm happy.
Hmm.
That kind of thing. That's how I feel mechanic and somebody who's set up, who understands setups, how they can help people progress.
True. True.
Um, so that's kind of like Wally. Like, he can build a car. The dude, like, he
Right.
can solder like no business, and the cars that he builds. But for me, and I guess that's kind of the new era because you see it more and more from people. But
Yeah.
what happened to the days where I'm a new racer and I just want help? I just I want help building my kit. I don't want to
Hmm.
have to pay you to build my kit. I want to just, I need some help building my kit, right? And
Right.
I know that there's a need. I know that there's a certain need, and Wally would probably, if I ever wanted to pay someone to build my kit, I would probably have Wally build it because his craftsmanship is amazing. But when you listen to him talk and he acts like he knows everything there is to know about RC, it drives me insane. Um, and of course, my issues with Drake. I always have these, me and Drake, like, if there's ever a person in this world that would just punch me in the face tomorrow, it'd be Drake.
What
But
y'all beef?
where,
Why y'all been beefing for years for what?
well,
What's up with it?
but see, like, my thing with Drake is what's giving him, what gave him this engine king guy? Like, he's the go-to guru for engines. How do you get that? I guess would be my thing. What has he done in his own personal program to get there? Like, he's got a national title, he's won big races.
Right. He got
You
all
know,
that.
I get that, but I don't know. It's just, for me, it's hard for me to see where, like, I'm totally against this whole um,
The Ibis.
oil bath break-in stuff, the EBIB stuff. I'm
Yeah.
100% against that.
Mhm.
I don't think there's any value to that. And in fact, I actually think it does probably more harm than good, because if you think about it, when you break in an engine, um, if you're breaking in an engine in an oil filled bath, and
Right.
all the particles that are popping off that sleeve, or that's loosening up, if all those particles are falling back into the oil, right?
Uh-huh.
Isn't all those particles then going through your motor, going through your bearings, going through the sleeve? Isn't it, like, to me, I don't see where the benefit of the
Mm.
oil bath is. Like,
Yeah. That is something
I
to think
just don't.
about. I never thought about it like that. I never
Like,
thought of
I think it's overhyped. And again, so we're losing touch on another side of it too, right? So you go out and you go buy a new kit, and you build this brand new kit. Right here, I got my freshy car. I got my freshy car, right? Brand new kit, like, it's gonna be super dialed.
okay.
And I'm gonna put my brand new engine in this kit. So if I pre-broke in a motor,
Right.
and then I take this nice motor and this brand new kit and I go to the track, anybody who's run 8 scale for any length of time, a brand new kit sucks. It's just terrible. It's
Gotta
not
break
very
it.
good because it has to break in.
Hmm.
So if I'm breaking in my motor and I'm breaking in my kit and I'm breaking them in all together and it's fusing in as one, you're it just everything makes it more long term. Like, everything molds together over time.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting away from that, you know. But again, these are just personal things. Like,
Right. I can
Drake's,
get it. And it makes sense.
he's got his niche,
Hmm.
man. People are paying him crazy money to go break in a motor that you get back from him, and you still got to break in the motor. Keep that in mind. Like, you
Yeah.
get this motor back, it's not ready to go on the track. You still got to run it on the bench. You still got to run it rich. You still got to pretty much do the same shit that you would do normally, but you just paid him. I don't even know how much he charges, but
Yeah.
it
That's
drives
true.
me insane. Like the gimmicky stuff like that just drives me insane. And it's the only reason people are doing it is because it's a fad,
In
right?
fact,
It's this
somebody
new
else.
fad that we have.
That's right. Somebody,
All these other pro drivers now are having Drake pre-break in their motors. So I got to do that because, I want to be just that fast. It's stupid. It drives me nuts.
hey man. But like I said, you right. I mean, it makes sense. I never thought about that with the Ebis. I haven't done the service. I have not done the service myself, but I haven't thought that deep into, like you just said, the particles that's breaking down from that tight sleeve. Where they gonna go?
Yeah,
But right back.
they're staying right there with it. So at least when you're breaking it in on the bench, that shit's blowing out the pipe. It's getting out of the motor. It's not staying in with the motor.
Right. Interesting. Yes,
Just
sir.
different philosophies. It's all philosophy. It's all like I don't think there's a right or wrong way. Like everybody has their own break-in method. Me personally,
Mhm.
I can have a motor broke in an hour and a half. I
Yeah.
mean, and my motors last. Like my bullet, this motor right here, this shit, that thing's got like 7 gallons, 8 gallons through it. It's 4 years old. I could put this in this car right now, fire up and go run.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and I had when I broke that motor in, I broke it in at a race. I broke it in at SIC.
Yes, I see.
I did one tank on the bench, one tank in the parking lot,
Uh
and then I ran it on the track with a mild tune, and then I leaned the bitch out, and it's been going ever since.
huh. Just like that. Yeah.
So I did it at the track, and I did it on Friday, and I raced it that whole weekend, and I don't remember how I did that weekend, but
Cool. Yeah, man. You going to SIC this year? You coming down?
I want to. I want to. I'm thinking. So I have a race up here. We have an arena race up here in Walla Walla, Washington.
Okay.
I want to say it's the weekend, maybe like 2 weekends before, and then SIC. So we're gonna see. And I'm trying to go to Silver State this year too. I want to go to Silver State.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Cool, man. Like I say, bro, I appreciate your time, man. And like I say, we've been at it for
It's
about
been fun.
2 hours and 22 minutes, man. And time just
Should
flies when you
take
have a good right.
flies, doesn't
We have
it?
a
It
good
just flies
conversation.
by.
Yeah, man. So bro, I ain't gonna keep you longer. We might have to do this again. And
Anytime.
Jeff, I totally appreciate your time. And y'all just hey, y'all go check out. Jeff, you got anything you want? Any shout outs? Any sponsors
No,
you want to
no,
give
not
credit
really.
to? Or
I
yeah,
enjoy our scene, man. I enjoy being on. I hanging out with you. It's just
yeah,
like that's the type of stuff I like. I like just bullshit like we're in the pits, having a
yeah.
good time,
I got you.
wrenching on my stuff. And no, hopefully we'll get together. I haven't been it's been a while since I've been back on the East Coast.
Yeah, you
It's
got
been
to
a
come
few
back,
years,
man.
so I'm hoping to make a few races. I'm definitely going to go to Wicked Weekend next year,
Yeah,
and I don't know about PNB, but Wicked Weekend and maybe SIC. We'll see.
I see. Cool. That's what's up. So yeah, hey man, if you're looking for you need a representative to get you a Reds motor, man. I'm your man.
I saw that. See, look at you making moves.
Yeah,
I'm telling you
man.
what. We were talking about this tonight at the track because I'm still slightly undecided about which motor I'm going to go to. I'm leaning towards ProTech and because I'm a Ryan Mayfield fanboy.
I got you. I
So,
understand.
seems how I'm paying for my shit. I'm kind of leaning towards the fanboy side of me, but that Reds motor, that is a sexy looking motor. That
The
new
one they
one that they
just
just came
dropped,
out with,
right? With the black
man,
head with the red fins.
that
Ooh,
thing is smoking hot.
I'm telling you, yes, yes,
So
yeah.
I've owned one Reds in my entire life, and that was just a disaster. But Reds has come a long way,
Come a
so
long way.
they're all
It has.
good.
So
They're
yeah,
all good, but that's a sexy motor. I'm telling you,
keep it in.
I
Just keep it in the
saw
back of your
that.
mind. Just keep it in the back of your head, and you got somebody that can get it for you to you
Yeah,
for a good price. So
see, back to what we're talking about.
hey,
I don't need to be sponsored if I know you, right? Because I can,
hey.
hook a brother up.
Yeah, man. But yeah, hey, I appreciate everyone tuning in. And again, y'all, I have a Patreon, man. And if y'all feel free to donate to my Patreon, $10. It's just gonna help me bring good people in like Jeff, help me continue to have good
Don't
equipment,
be, don't be spreading that. I ain't good. No, no,
Yeah.
no. Don't be spreading those rumors.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Pain in the
Yes,
ass.
you are. You're a good dude. Just let you vent, get it out.
Hey, I'm
That's
being good.
it.
I'm being good. I'm being less
Keep it-
less controversial than I was, but still being able to kind of
Tell the truth.
speak your mind.
That's it. That's all we ask,
Be
But
real. That's all I get. Be
that's
real.
all. That's it. Be real about it. And yeah, y'all, again, y'all check my Patreon out, man. And like I said, $10 donation. I welcome it just to keep me, help good guests like Jeff and help me get good podcast equipment and help me get to races. Cause I want to go DNC. I want to hit up Silver State and want to bring my RC family some good content from those races. So yeah, y'all hit that Patreon up for me. And
You need to come out to Washington sometime this year. You want some fun, man. We party out here.
Washington.
Come up to Washington State,
When
fly
the
into
when
Seattle. I'll
when the
pick you
raining
up in
season over
Seattle.
with. When the raining season over with. When is not the
Yeah,
rain?
yeah. No.
Yeah.
We got a beautiful new track up in Spokane, Washington right now that
Okay.
the Elders, Brian Elder just put in. That's just going to be dialed. That's going to be really good.
Well, if I'll let you know. I just probably need somewhere to lay my head. If you got me on
I
that,
got you. I got you.
then we
You
can work
you
something
make
out.
your way out here. I got you the rest of the way.
Then I know you like to sip on a little something, so we can go in and get us something to sip on. We
Damn
can do it
right.
like that. That's right.
Got my crown right there, baby.
I know you. But yeah, y'all check that Patreon out. And I appreciate my RC family. And this has been great, man. And like I say, I ain't gonna keep you long. And like I say, if you ain't ripping, you're tripping. Left tie salute. Let them haters be your motivators. Actions always speak louder than words. And we out, baby. That's it. I appreciate y'all.
Damn right. All
Treat
right,
people
buddy.
the way
Have
you
a
want
good
to be
one.
treated. That's it. And treat people the way you want to be treated. That's it. All right, y'all. All right, Jeff. Bro, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Anytime. I'll see you soon.
Okay, next time I'm gonna get you back on when I get Max back on. We're gonna let y'all go at it.
Oh, I'll wear his ass out.
All
He may
right,
be
now.
faster on the track, but I guarantee you I can bury him when it comes to a conversation.
That's it. All right, now. All right, now, Jeff. We appreciate it, bro. Thank you, man.
All right, have a good one.
Have a good one. All right. All right, y'all. All right, RC family. Peace.